You know what? The other day I was sitting here and I was scrolling through Instagram and I noticed that the Berlin Marathon is coming. And first of all, I cannot believe it's been an entire year since I ran the Berlin Marathon. But then I was like, I took a ton of footage from that trip that I never really did anything with. So I wanted to show you, because this was actually an amazing experience. Last year I got to run the Berlin Marathon with Adidas, my coach, which was the coolest experience in the entire world. Getting to like run a world marathon major with a huge brand like Adidas was like mind-boggling, brain-blowing. Like, we just had so much fun. We got to go to the Adidas headquarters. We got to meet Jeffrey Mutai and Emmanuel Mutai, two of the fastest marathoners in the world. We got to just like talk to them about running. And I got to hang out with three amazing British bloggers, Sophie, Annie, and Susie. And we just had like the best time ever. We got in just so much trouble. So I wanted to give a little recap of like what it was like to get to run around Germany with Adidas. So let's start at the beginning. First of all, I had never been out of the country before in my life. I think I got my passport the week I got the email asking me if I wanted to be a part of the program. And I was like, yes, absolutely yes, 100% yes, I want in, I want to do this. And like, I want to run the world marathon majors. Like it's on my bucket list of things I want to do. From the moment I got there, like the plane ride itself was crazy. I had this like huge giant seat and I was so excited that I didn't sleep. I was on this red eye. And I am a notoriously lazy traveler. So I turned out I had a layover and I remember we landed in Amsterdam and I was like, what am I doing in Amsterdam? But then I quickly like opened my email and realized I had a layover, so I had to like walk across this big giant airport to another little tiny airplane. And then we flew to another town where the Adidas headquarters is in Germany. The day I got there, like I immediately went to bed because this dum-dum just decided to read Mindy Kaling's new book instead of sleeping like I should have, and then I could have explored, but whatever, we had a big giant trip ahead of us. So I slept, and then that night I got to meet everyone from the Adidas team, and we got to meet, that's when I met Susie and Sophie and Annie, and then we all went to dinner, and then after that I crashed. And then the next day we got to go to the Adidas, they call it a campus, but it's their headquarters. And we went for a little shakeout run around the amazing area that the headquarters is in. It was so much fun. And then we got to go to like their top secret labs. So we got to see like how they test everything, and like they had a track in there, and they have like all their soccer stuff in there, and they have this like robotic foot that like kicks balls into a net, and that's how they test the shoes. And they had like climate chambers, and then we got to see like the foam that the shoes are made of and all this testing stuff, and it was amazing. Like we weren't allowed to film anything in there, but it was so cool. We all left like. And then we got to see like the VIP lounge where they take all their athletes and all their celebrities that they work with, and it was this like super cool innovative space, and it's how they like measure everyone. And then we got to go, this was the best part, they took us to the like one of their stores, and there's this top floor on top of it that we went to, and they were like, have whatever you want. So we got to just like take stuff, like we just got all this cool Adidas stuff, which was so cool. And then after that, we ate on campus, and their food was so good. And then we took some pictures, and then we hopped on a train and we went to Berlin. And here's the best part, we actually got off the train at the wrong place. So we had to like get into cabs to go to where our hotel was. And our hotel was like right at the starting line. So it was like perfect location, and the rooms were amazing and all this. So we had lunch, and that's where we met Adam, who was like our little babysitter. Poor Adam. We were awful. We were so we were not behaved. We were crazy women. And so the next day we got to wake up, and then we got to meet the Mutais. And they're not related, they just have the same last name. And it was so funny because when we all sat down, like you could tell they were like super formal and ready to like have this super professional talk. And we just immediately started firing off like the most ridiculous questions. And I asked them like, do you ever read race day signs? And like, what's your fun? Like, do you ever laugh at them? And they were like, no, we're too fast to read race day signs. And it was Annie's first marathon, so like the second they found out about that, like they both lit up and were telling her how much pain she was gonna be in and how much fun she was gonna have. So it was super cool. But it was awesome. Like, it was an awesome experience just to like ask them about running at that caliber. And we talked a lot about being able to break the world record. And they talk about it like it's just gonna happen. Like it was gonna happen the next day. So that was just, it was just crazy. And I was like, I can't imagine running that fast. And they were like, we can't imagine being on our feet for 4 hours. It was so funny. But then after that, we went to the expo. And the expo at the Berlin Marathon is held at this huge old World War II hangar. Like, it's giant. We walked forever. And there's like this big like balloon. And there's just like people everywhere. And you don't recognize any of the brands or like people who are selling stuff. So that was really cool to get to experience. And there was this huge long line. And then we had this super pushy photographer with us who was awesome. And he was like, we're not waiting in this line. So he like took us directly to the front of the line and we just went right in. And they gave you like these cool bracelets and you'd like put your hand in this thing. And then we got our bibs. And after that we went to lunch. And then after that, everyone wanted to go back to the hotel and like rest because the next day was race day. But I was like, no, I want a tourist. So I made everyone walk around. And so we got to go to the top of this like this TV tower that they have, and no one wanted to do it, and I was like all about it. But we had like front of the line passes, so it was cool. And then we were supposed to go on this boat tour, but we were literally 1 minute late. 1 minute. And the boat left, like it wasn't even there. And so Adam was so pissed off and he's like calling people. So we said screw it, and we just went and sat by the river and had a beer, which ended up being like so much better anyway. But after that we went back to the hotel, and then we went to get more food, have like our final Italian food dinner, which was really, really fun. And then we went back to the hotel and went to bed because the next day was race day. I've never really talked about Berlin because it was definitely like the turning point of how I ran marathons and raced in general. I knew I wanted to break 4 hours, but I wouldn't commit to it. I had all these insurance policies. So like I remember talking with Susie and Adam, and we were talking about like how breaking 4 hours was my goal. And I was like, if it happens, it happens, but like I just want to have fun. That's my biggest insurance policy. I just want to have fun, which is important. You should always have fun. But it gives me an excuse not to push myself when I want to. It's so bizarre, like not being able to understand the people around you who are talking. And like there were languages everywhere. Like everywhere you turned, like I couldn't figure out where people were from. And it was madness, like sheer madness, like the amount of people. But everyone's excited to be there and the music's pumping and then you line up and it's like this. We were like straight back. So you like turn around and you just see like thousands and thousands and thousands of people behind you. So you start and you run by, I think it's called the Berlin Victory Statue. It's this like super cool roundabout. Berlin is flat. Like it is so ridiculously flat. I don't remember a single incline, so it's fast. Like this is a super fast course. And here's like a really, really crazy thing. People cheer, but it's not at all like they do in America. There would be people who just stood there and looked at you, which was so bizarre. But I didn't do the kilometer to mile breakdown like everyone told me to do. Like going into it the morning of, Susie was even like telling me in my ear, like, Kelly, okay, this is the half. This is like halfway to the finish. And then like here's 3/4, and then here's a quarter. Just remember those 4 points. And I just like in one ear out the other. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll have my watch. And biggest regret. My sister told me where she was going to be, but there were no mile markers on the course, so I didn't know. So like, thank God I found her the first time. I found her the first time, missed her the second, and then found her the third. But the first time it was funny, she had this sign that said like, stop here for Wi-Fi. Cause I mean, when you're an American running around Europe, you're like, where's the Wi-Fi?
Is there Wi-Fi here? No. There's free Wi-Fi ahead though, apparently. Apparently you're supposed to keep running.
And they made a funny video about running around Berlin to go to all these different places and how stressful it is to miss me. So, I mean, spectating a marathon is infinitely more stressful than running it, I think, personally. It's not harder, but like it is definitely stressful. But it was fun having them there and on the course, and it just made it feel so much more exciting and fun and special. But the race itself was totally fine. Like, I was doing really great and I was on pace to run a sub 4 until about mile 22. I saw my sister the last time and I turned to her and I'm like, I'm gonna break 4, I'm gonna do it. But it was there that like I started to lose gas and I didn't know where we were. And I was just tired. Like, my legs hurt, everything hurt. I didn't, like, had I known, like, okay, you're at 22, like, you have 4 more to go, you can do this, like, power through each mile. I couldn't remember how long a kilometer was, and when you're that late in the game, like, you're trying to do math. You're like, a 5K is 3 miles, so 5 divided by 3, and blankety, blankety, blank. And you're like, 150? Like, that doesn't make sense. I was looking at my watch, and I remember seeing, like, 26, and I could not see the finish line. I couldn't see any landmarks. I couldn't see anything. I didn't know if we were a mile away. I didn't know if we were a quarter mile away. I didn't know if we were 2 miles away. I remember just feeling so over it and just not into it and I wanted to be done. And literally probably one of like 10 Americans on the course who was spectating screams out, only 2 more miles to go. And I lost it. I was like, damn it. I don't want to do this anymore. So I stopped and I walked for like a minute. And we turned a corner. And there were the Brandenburg gates and there was the finish line. And I thought, that bitch. I'm sure she didn't know better, but I was so frustrated and so pissed off that I could have kept going. And had I known where I was, I probably would have ran a sub 4. But whatever, it's fine. I think I ran like 4:02 or 4:04, something close. But the finish line of the Berlin Marathon is incredible. It's like a straight shot of a quarter of a mile. You run through the Brandenburg gates, which is like, I have this amazing picture of me, like hands in the air, just stoked off my life. And then there's like music playing, and there's stands, and it's loud like New York. And I looked over and I saw like all the Adidas people, and I was like waving at them, and I'm crying because it's so overwhelming. And you're like, I did it. And you cross the finish line and you get the medal. And I sat down for a little bit, and then I walked back to the hotel, which I couldn't believe I found the hotel. I finished and I was like, oh my God, how do I get back to the hotel? I don't even know where I am. But somehow, like, I found where we got there in the morning because everything starts and ends in the same place. So I remembered, and I got back to the hotel, and Adam and Susie were waiting in the lobby, and they got me like a Caesar salad, a chocolate milk, and a cheeseburger. Then the rest of the day, we just like sat in the lobby and drank. Did we go to dinner somewhere? Oh, we did. I remember now. Because my sister came and she got lost, and she was like, dangerous. And I'm like, no. But we went to like some cool place for dinner, and a ton of people came. And then after that, we went back to the hotel and sat in the lobby, and we drank beer until like midnight. It was amazing. The Berlin Marathon is hands down one of like the best experiences I've ever had. Oh, if you have a chance, run the Berlin Marathon. It is an amazing race. Run really well. So much fun. So much fun.